All right, hi, my name is Jeremy Walker. I'm a developer platform engineer here at Google, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I use Kotlin to make watch face creation much easier on Wear OS. So watch faces are kind of hard right now, and you have to write about 600 plus lines of code. It's not like a nice app you do in Android or Wear OS where you can declare a lot of the UI in an XML format. You actually have to manually paint everything. And then you have to include a bunch of code just to make sure when you're in ambient mode, you're not hurting the battery life. So I was trying to think of ways to improve this. And last year at I/O, we announced official support for Kotlin. So I started thinking, how could I use Kotlin to make this easier? And I did convert the whole thing to Kotlin, which did reduce the code lines a lot. But I found something else with Kotlin that made it even more cool. And that was something called DSL. So what is Kotlin DSL? The best way to understand what a domain-specific language is to compare it to a regular programming language. So again, domain-specific language, that for me didn't really help me what it meant. But if you compare it to like a general programming language like Kotlin or Java, where you have a bunch of keywords, you have classes, methods, and you make a nice big app, the opposite on the other side is the DSL, which focuses on a specific task or domain. So it forgoes a lot of functionality and lets you just do that specific task. You've actually probably used external DSL and not even realized it. For example, SQL for manipulating databases, that's a DSL. So is regular expressions for manipulating strings. So they each have an independent syntax. They reduce a lot of the functionality. You don't need like methods or a class to make them work. You're not going to write a full-on application in them either, at least I hope not. And for SQL, the first keyword kind of indicates as a verb what you're going to do. Maybe you're going to select or you're going to update. The disadvantage here, as you probably know, is you have to put that as a string literal. So you have to pray and hope that you spelled everything right until runtime, and then maybe it fails and you have to hack through it and figure out what's going on. So with Kotlin DSL, it actually extracts that out of the string and it puts it right in your code. So you can have type checking, you can have code hints, and all that good stuff that comes with your IDE. So now that you kind of have an idea of what it is, I'd like to show you two structures really quick. And I use the latter, but there's one called creating one through chain method calls, and the other one is nesting of lambdas. So recognizing DSL is really subjective, so you know it when you see it. So let's see some. So this is Kotlin DSL for SQL. You could probably look at it, and if you know SQL, you can understand it right away. And it's all verbs like slice, and then I select all, and then I group by, then I order by, and then I limit. And this is all type checked, and you get code hinting so you don't spell anything wrong. And this is pretty great, and it's understandable. This is DSL. But the DSL for the watch face, which I really liked, was the nested lambda structure. So this is to create a watch face. You can see right away, create a watch face is the verb. But if you look at my structure, you don't know anything. You may not know anything about making a watch face, but you can probably understand what's going on right away. Analog watch face, okay, it's not digital, so it has arms. Colors, okay, I can figure that out. The dimensions for the hand, the hour hand, the minute hand, the second hand, okay, I understand that. Watch face background image. So that's all, it's very declarative, so you can kind of understand right away. And this is all type checked, and I get code hints and all that good stuff. And in the end, I get this nice little watch face with no work. Now, the 600 lines, they didn't all go away. I put them in a helper class and combined it with the more important class that interprets this DSL. But if you're making a watch face, you only need to know about the DSL. So what's next? This was kind of an experiment I did as a code lab, so check out the code lab. It'll only take you 15 minutes to make a new watch face. Just search for Kotlin watch face code lab. Geez, that's really long. Just search for Google Code Lab, and it's under the Wear OS, or search under Kotlin. You can see how to make a watch face, and you can see the code, or the source code for how I made the transition between DSL and interpreted it into a nice little watch face. But more importantly, hopefully now you're a little bit interested in DSL and say, hey, I could use this in one of my projects to make it a little bit better. Or you can go out and use something like the DSL for SQL. There's one for testing, and one that's more similar to mine, you can even do HTML in your Kotlin code and type checked, which is kind of what I modeled mine after. So thank you for the talk, or letting me talk, and hopefully I've kind of got you a little bit interested in DSL. Thank you.